Welcome to Nourished and Free, the podcast, a show dedicated to helping you create a healthy and realistic relationship around food, your body, and all things wellness. I'm your host, Michelle Yates, a registered dietitian specializing in eating disorders and disordered eating, as well as health psychology. If you're new here, welcome to what might possibly be your new favorite show. If you enjoy digging into topics like nutrition and mental health, we talk about that a lot here. You'll love the show if you're interested in topics like eating disorders, debunking popular wellness trends, body image, food psychology, and any other challenges that we face today with our relationship with food. Be sure you subscribe so you won't miss when a new dose of Nourished and Free magic drops. Let's dig into today's episode. Welcome back. I'm so excited to have a past client with me today, Sharlette. She's here to share her story about working with me in Nourished and Free. And I am super excited to just catch up with you because we were just saying this, it's been almost 3 months since you finished, 6 months since you started.
Yes.
So this is I love when I get to connect with clients who have finished and they're living their life, they're doing the thing now, because this is where I get to really see did it work?
So far.
Well, that's good. So yeah, why don't you just kind of tell us a little bit about who you are, give us a little overview of who you are as a person, as much as you're comfortable with sharing. You don't need to give us your social security code or anything.
Oh, good. Also, I will just be honest, I'm in my early 50s, so there's a lot of life, but briefly, I work from home, which is awesome. I recommend it to anybody that is thinking about working from home.
Agreed.
It's excellent. Do it.
Best.
It's the best. Too bad that wasn't an option when I was younger, but I'm loving it now.
It is now.
Yeah, I'm married, no kids, but I have 2 dogs that are my children. Since we're talking about nutrition and all of that, going back to childhood, I started gaining weight in 4th grade. We won't go into the psychology of all the reasons why, but I became an emotional eater, a stress eater, an everything eater. I don't think I hit binge eating until high school, but I was overweight from starting in 4th grade all the way to now, with a brief period of about 7 years when I lost 100 pounds, doing low calorie, 1,200 calories a day, and exercising 6 days a week.
Sounds fun.
Yeah.
Sounds like you had a really good quality of life.
I don't know why anyone thinks, and even me, I have a friend who, if she listens to this later, will go, oh, she's talking about me, who used to ask me, why are you only eating half a banana?
Yeah. Oh, I used to do that too, though.
Yes. There's too many calories in this banana. Yeah. I can't have it, but I can have half a banana.
Mm-hmm.
But you can have a whole banana.
Wild, right? Yeah.
So over the years, I did everything, starting with SlimFast in 1987 as a teenager, all the way to Weight Watchers. I did some kind of weird injections when I was in my 20s of
HCG? Was it HCG?
No. I'm too young. I don't even know. Honestly, I don't even know. I went with my mom to some doctor. You had to take a tablespoon of this weird chocolate mint syrup before you ate a meal because it was supposed to curb your appetite.
Oh, goodness.
All the things, Michelle, all the things. Weight Watchers multiple times.
Well, you know what's crazy about those things, though, is that they will recirculate. That might have been a thing 20, 30 years ago, but it will come back. I'm already seeing weird things, even just with apple cider vinegar. People really believe that if you take a shot of that before you eat a meal, that it's going to melt the fat away off of your body and you're gonna have 0 calorie intake even though you just ate 300 calories. It's just,
I did that as well. Do you know how awful it is to drink apple cider? It's awful. Yeah. Don't drink it, and it's bad for your teeth. Just don't do it.
Literally no reason to do it. Yeah.
So Weight Watchers, SlimFast, Noom, clean eating, keto, low carb, low fat,
the whole thing.
Yeah. So I think that's where I was right before I discovered you. Was I was in this mental confusion about what am I even supposed to eat? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't even know anymore. There's
Mm-hmm.
too many options. What do you even do anymore? Yeah.
Right, because like depending on what diet you do or even lifestyle, quote unquote, like the rules change. And so on one diet, bananas might be too many calories, but on the other, you might be eating only bananas, and
Yeah.
so it's so confusing and
Yes.
can feel like debilitating.
Yeah.
I want to circle back. You mentioned that in I think you said high school you started binging. Would
Mm.
you mind sharing kind of what that looked like for you? Because some people aren't. I know a lot of people listening to this will be like, I don't know if I binge or like what that looks like. So, do you mind kind of walking us through how that looked for you?
So, even from early childhood, I was what was called a latchkey kid back in the day. I don't know if we still use that term, but my mom and stepfather at the time worked. And so my brother and I were home alone a lot,
Mm-hmm.
kind of fending for yourself kind of thing. For me, the binge eating was in the forms of eating an entire family sized bag of nacho cheese Doritos,
Mm-hmm.
like not being able to stop, just
Yeah.
getting the bag and just eating. And as you're doing it, you're realizing I should not be eating a family sized bag of Doritos, but you just
Yeah.
keep going. And then I was never, I wouldn't consider myself like bulimic, definitely not anorexic, but
Purge.
I probably tried it in high school, but never
Yeah.
purged.
Yeah.
But then you just feel miserable and horrible afterwards. Why did
Yeah.
I do that? I'm so fat. I'm horrible. I'm this, I'm that kind of feelings. And then, you maybe go, okay, rein that in. And then a week later, you do it again.
Mm.
Eat an entire bag of chocolate chips that are meant to make cookies with. But no, you just sat there and ate an entire bag of chocolate chips.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. So, there was like this conscious or maybe subconscious thought of like, I shouldn't be doing this, but
Yeah.
yet you couldn't stop.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes not even a thought of I shouldn't be doing this, just whatever the need was at the time, emotional, mental, whatever, that was soothing that at the time. And so you just kept doing it.
Just did it. Yeah.
But definitely felt horrible afterwards,
Yeah. Yeah.
knowing that's not the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So around the time that we started working together, was binging still happening? Were you, yeah, like kind of what did your relationship with food look like after so many years of going through
Uh,
different phases?
yeah. So I think I mentioned I had lost over 100 pounds in 2004 or 5, 6, somewhere in there. And I kept it off for a number of years, but only by the strict 1,200 calories a day diet and working out 6 times a week. I actually became a fitness instructor. So then that kept me teaching 6 times a week. And which then I looked at later and I was like, that means if I was burning 600 calories in a class and I was only eating 1,200 calories a day, no wonder I lost weight. I was only netting 600 calories of food a day. Like,
Yeah.
that's insane.
We forget about the exercise piece a
Yes,
lot.
that's insane. That's insane. I
Yeah.
look back at that and I'm like, oh my gosh, no wonder. Also, I will mention I was hungry all the time on 1,200 calories.
Yeah.
I did it, but I was hungry all the time. But I sustained a knee injury a few years ago and went through a couple of knee surgeries. And so my exercise level dropped significantly. My weight started coming on. So by the time I found you, I was binging probably once or twice a month, not that often with binging. I think as I've gotten older, the you shouldn't be doing this would hit me earlier in a binge, and I would be able to stop. But still, binge eating at all is not a good thing. I was in a restrict binge cycle of so I would find a diet and I would be really strict, and then I would be eating spinach salads every day and be like, I just want a frickin' cheeseburger.
Yeah.
And then I would quit and just go full on pizza and hamburgers and cookies and eat all the things all the time. And it was a miserable cycle to repeat. I'm pretty sure there are people out there that can relate to that. But I was an all or nothing. I'm either all in, don't even get a cookie near me. I can't even eat a half a banana. Or I was all out. Give me all the things.
Yeah. So how did that consistent cycle, I mean, emotionally and mentally, where do you think that put you?
In a very negative place, because it's impossible, because your focus becomes food and losing weight, and that consumes 90% at least of your brain space. Is get on the scale. Oh crap, I gained weight. Okay, I can eat nothing but lemon and water today, like, because I gained 2 pounds. Or, oh, I lost weight. Okay, I can be a little bit relaxed. Like, my day was determined by whatever that number on the scale was. How good am I going to be? Or how bad? Everything was good and bad. There was no neutrality, which we, learn in Nourished and Free. But there was none of that for me, right? I was either being good or I was being bad, depending on what I was eating. And that desire, not even to be healthy, which is now my mindset, but to be thinner. Mm-hmm. I need to be thinner. This number is too big. It needs to be less.
Yeah. What you said about like the scale dictating the rest of the day for you is so relatable. I remember being the exact same way. Like depending on what that said, even to the
point changes of like, your mood.
Yeah, it does. It literally controls you. And if I was happy with it, then you get that like, oh, I can relax more. I can have a cheeseburger tonight, whatever. But because of that all or nothing mentality, it's much more than that. Yep. It ends up being much more than that. And then the next day you're unhappy with what it said because you think that you gained 5 pounds of just fat, And it's like, that's not what that is. But in our brain, we think it is. And that's
not how your body works, but that's what. And then just the negative self-talk, talking to myself in a just horrible way. And there's, you hear people say, would you talk to your friend that way? And no, I absolutely would not say to a friend the things that I was saying to myself. And that kind of was bleeding over into my marriage, where my husband would be upset at the way I talked about myself. So, yeah. And then you came across my Instagram feed.
Yay, Yates Nutrition.
Thanks to Dr. Ids, by the way.
Oh, shout out to Dr. Ids. We love Ids. He's the best. We love Dr. Ids. I got a couple episodes with him on the show.
Yeah.
So what I'm curious about then, Sharlette, is you've tried so many different things for decades. And I mean, from what it sounds like, each new thing you came across, you would try it out, right?
Yeah.
So by the time you found me, was there a sense of like fear or like, what if this doesn't work like everything else? Like, how is this any different? Was there any sense of that going on?
I think I had gotten to the place of realizing that the core issue wasn't the number on the scale or what my weight was. The core issue was the relationship I had with food and my body. So when I started looking at the stuff for your program, knowing, and I told my husband, I told my friend, this is not a weight loss program. I am not doing this with the result being I'm going to lose weight.
Yeah.
Like, I knew that's not my goal here. My
Yeah.
goal is I have got to get off this merry-go-round.
Yeah.
And I have tried losing weight to do it, and that's not the way to do it. I've
Yeah.
got to fix what is in my brain
Yeah.
in relation to my body and to food.
Yeah. So there was like this sense of, okay, this is different because it's not just hyper fixated on this scale like everything else
Yes.
has been for the past few decades.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is good. And I think there's people who can do that and they're fine and it's not a big deal. Like they can track calories or do Weight Watchers and weigh themselves on the scale every day and it not affect their quality of life or put them in that cycle. But there's definitely people who can like be okay with stuff like that and it not trigger them. But then there's also this other side where hyperfixating on your weight does send you into those cycles depending on the person that you are and your personality. And so there's some individuals who just need to back off on like that being their focus. It's not because we don't care about health still or we don't care about like you being healthy, but
yeah. I still went in feeling like I'm heavier than I want to be.
Yeah.
But my thought was, if I'm ever going to get past this kind of life of super strict and then relax, super strict and relax, I just want to, my thought was, I just want to live and not think about if I eat this French fry, I'm going to gain 2 pounds tonight. Like, I was tired of that.
Yeah.
And so so during the program, I still would mentally struggle sometimes with, but I still kind of want to lose weight. You know, I still want to be thinner.
Yeah. Yeah. But there's a reality of like, that could be a desire, but like what we do with that desire can sometimes actually inhibit that goal. And so it's like taking some time to focus on the deeper things. And maybe that leads to weight loss. Maybe you can go back to doing some things later that will lead to weight loss and it not be a big thing for you.
No.
Yeah, there you go.
Don't wanna have zero desire to do anything that I did before.
Well, okay, well, let me ask you this because I know some people are gonna be listening to this and be like, well, then are you even healthy? So do you feel like you're taking care of yourself after taking time to dig into your relationship with food and your body?
It's so funny how when you change that, I can't have this mentality to letting yourself have the things I'm not saying you don't crave them because you do, but there's not that I don't know if obsessive is the word, but for example, I would only allow myself to have Dove dark chocolate because dark chocolate's heart healthy. So if I was going to have a treat, I could only have Dove dark chocolate. I made my husband keep it hidden because I didn't trust myself that I wouldn't go and eat 10, 12, 20 Dove dark chocolates.
Yeah.
I have a bag of them in my pantry now. It's 3/4 of the bag full. I occasionally go in there and grab one because I just need a little piece of chocolate and walk away. I don't have the fear or anxiety that I'm going to eat that entire bag of chocolate. I used to not have chips or cereal or any of the foods that were bad that I might binge on.
Yeah.
I just didn't buy them. They're all in my house now. I have chips and crackers and nuts and I don't have the desire to go in there and eat them all in one sitting, which is what I may have done before.
Yeah.
And my nutrition, because I can have those things, is so much better now. I think one of the things that I don't want to spoiler alert that people will, if people join your program, they will hear this in the program. But
Yeah.
one of the things that hit home so much for me, and I just have it in my brain all the time, is think about, what does your body want? Great. What does your body want? Cheeseburger. How is that going to make your body feel?
Mm-hmm.
Well, obviously, if you eat cheeseburgers and fries and pizza and all that every day, all day, you're going to feel pretty crummy.
Mm-hmm.
Throw in some green beans, I don't know, but you're going to feel crummy if you eat that consistently. So, do I want a cheeseburger sometimes? Yeah. But guess what? Most of the time now I eat half a cheeseburger, because what I realized is a whole cheeseburger and a whole serving of fries, I'm stuffed. Like,
Yeah.
that's too much for me. So, another part of the program, I had learned this as a child. Instead of finish your everything on your plate or you can't have dessert kind of mentality that people my age
Classic
grew up with. Yeah. Or it's dinner time. Dinner time is at 6:00. We're eating at 6:00. Are you hungry? Who cares? It's dinner time. And I've kept that my whole life. Like, it's dinner time and you're going to clean your plate, and learning to let those things go. I eat now at the weirdest times because that's when I'm hungry. Yeah. Instead of it's 6 p.m. and it's dinner time, well, at 4:30, I had a snack. So now that it's 6, I'm not hungry,
Yeah, I love that. And do you feel like you feel physically any different?
Yes.
Because I know before you said you were like hungry all the time and all of that. Like, what kind of physical things, tangible things have you noticed, if any?
Way more energy than I used to have. Just feeling overall. I think also what we don't realize is mentally, the way you think about yourself and everything mentally affects you physically. So releasing myself mentally from that, being tied to that scale. Somebody asked me recently, have you lost any weight? And I was like, I don't know. My clothes feel a little looser than they did 6 months ago, but I haven't been on the scale. I don't know. And I mean, I was a daily weight. I actually made my husband put the scale in the closet on his side because he still wants to weigh himself. But I'm like, I don't want to see it. It used to be in the bathroom.
I don't want to see it. Get that out of my sight.
Get that out. I don't want to, because I don't want to go back to that place where that dictates how I feel. And right now, I feel great.
Yeah.
I feel really good. I think I mentioned this to you in a message, but January 1 hit and all my friends not all my friends, but some of my friends are like, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to work out with a trainer, or I'm starting this diet and I'm going to be really serious and I'm going to do all that. But for the first time in however many years, I was like, that's awesome. Good for you. I'm not doing anything. I mean,
you don't feel the need to.
I didn't feel the need to, because another thing is, during the holidays, I didn't go overboard like I normally would, because this is the only time I'm going to have. No, it's not. You're going to have it again next year. Or if you want to make mashed potatoes and sweet potatoes, you can. You don't have to eat it all right now. Yeah. So, it was such a freeing realization to realize, oh my gosh, I'm not like January 1. I've got to start this and get back on track. No, I wasn't off track. Yeah. I was doing my thing and living my life.
I love that.
That's another thing about exercise. I wish they would keep as kids. Exercise is fun. Mm-hmm. We're doing fun things. We're riding our bikes. I don't know what kids today do. Roller skating back in the day.
On TikTok, honestly.
I know now, but back when you were a kid, running around and playing hide and seek and stuff outside was fun. Yeah. And then we turned exercise into earning your food.
Yeah. And
Oh my
punishment.
gosh, yes. And I'll confess, when I was a fitness instructor, I look back at like my Facebook memories and I would be
Mm.
like, I had a cookie today. I better go teach my class and work out. I had Mexican food. Oh, better go run to class and get a
Yeah.
good workout in. And I was like, oh my gosh, I hate that I did that to other people as an
Well,
instructor.
at the time, you probably thought it was motivating and everything.
I
And
did, yeah.
yeah.
But you look at how that how that might affect somebody. They think, and then it turns the exercise into not being fun, which
Yeah.
it can be. It can be lots of fun
Totally. Yeah. I love
if you're
that.
not using it as a punishment or you have to earn things.
Yeah. I have like these friends that they will go play pickleball every Sunday. They're just a married couple and it's like
That's the thing now.
so it is the thing now. It's a big thing right now. And I just think that's like the cutest thing. Like they go play pickleball. And I feel like we all know somebody like that who is just, they really enjoy doing sporty things. Like we all
Yeah.
have that sporty friend. And it can seem so mind blowing when you have had a relationship with exercise and fitness that's all about punishment and making your body smaller. Because for them, it's just like fun.
Yeah.
And they're so like, yeah, you're naturally doing really good things for your health. And it has nothing to do with trying to make your body smaller. For them, it's all about like, this is super fun. I really love doing this. And I
Yeah.
wish that that was more like you said, I wish that was more encouraged and normalized, is just finding something that you love to do for fun
Yeah.
and that happens to move your body too. Even with like, I harp on technology a lot for keeping us stationary, but there's
Right.
like new things with VR where you're able to do exercise classes with VR, the virtual reality stuff. And I think that's super fun. Like if you can do a dance program, like some people would love that. I would love that.
Oh
So
yeah, for sure.
there's a lot of fun things you could do. But yeah, so I'm curious, when you like first joined,
Mm.
do you think there's anything that you wish somebody would have told you or some sort of advice they could have given you when you first started?
I think it's sometimes intimidating because when you first jump in, there are people already going through the
Yeah.
program. And so there is a tendency to jump in and you feel like you're behind already
Yeah. Yeah.
because you
That's a good
jump
point.
into and you're in a group and the group is, maybe 3 weeks ahead of you. So be patient. You don't need to be where anyone else is in this program.
Yeah.
But I say the most important thing is share, whether it's in the group chats, on the phone calls, because if you don't open up and, be a little vulnerable, it's going to be hard for you to get to the end.
Mm-hmm.
And all of the women in the program, so supportive, no matter what place they are in the program. And somebody in there, I guarantee, is feeling exactly what you're feeling. So don't be afraid to share how you're feeling. There's no judgment. Nobody's going to judge you. Nothing. And some of it is, inspiring and, makes you realize that you can get there as well. Somebody that was there during my time, I think it was Amy. Shout out to Amy if you're listening. But I think she said she was on a trip and she was like eating ice cream in her bathing suit on a trip. And I'm like, I can't even imagine doing that. But at the end, now I'm like, who cares? Yes, give me an ice cream while I sit here in my swimsuit.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're so hard on ourselves. Like, don't be so hard on yourself.
Yeah. That's good. So for anybody that's like, I don't get how the group works. I let people join whenever they want. Like if you're ready, then we're gonna join now. We're not gonna wait until the next cohort starts, because I just feel like people are tired. Like let's get them started,
And that was one of my hesitations as well, was
Mm-hmm.
it's a group program.
Mm-hmm.
Will I get what I need in a group setting?
Yeah.
But it was way more helpful to be in a group setting and realize other people are struggling with similar things. And not everybody, you're not going to relate to everybody,
Yeah.
but there's at least one other person that you're like, oh my gosh, that sounds exactly like how I think or how I feel or
Yeah.
whatever. So yeah,
Yeah.
don't let
Yeah.
don't let that stop you. You will, even in a group, you're going to get exactly what you need.
Yeah. And I feel like, I mean, I'm biased, but I feel like with with the group, because I used to do this as a one-on-one thing and then a hybrid, and I feel like with the group, the growth is actually faster
Yeah.
because there are people ahead of you and you're learning from them, and people are asking questions that you didn't know you had. And so then you get to learn that too. And it's like there's just so much collaboration going on kind of unintentionally. It's just happening
Yes.
naturally, and
Yeah.
you're learning from each other naturally, that the growth is faster. And I obviously want that for my clients because I know that they're sick of feeling this way. Because for some of them it's been
Yeah.
decades of
Yes, yes,
suffering.
yeah,
So
yeah. No,
yeah.
it was, at the end, I was like, oh, I don't want to lose touch with some of these
Yeah.
women.
I know.
Let's
I
keep
love that you
let's
guys
keep
like
in
reach
touch.
out and
Yeah, we're all
connect.
like,
And
hey,
yeah, I
yeah,
love that. I love that.
yeah.
So, what would you say to somebody that's like considering joining and maybe they're unsure if it's worth taking the risk?
It's 1000% worth it. I had many hesitations before joining, but if anything you have said on any podcast, on any Instagram post, if anything you've said has resonated with that person, do it, join. Because, and I can't even recall exactly what it was, but I think you were doing one of Dr. Idz's podcasts or something. So I saw like the advertisement, and then I went over to look at your stuff because I was like, oh, well, I trust Dr. Idz and things. So I'm going to go look at this person. And then one of the posts, just everything you said was like, I was like, oh, that's me. Oh, that's me.
Mm.
Oh, that's me. Oh my gosh, that's me. Can this person help me? Like, I don't know. And for
Say
some,
it isn't so.
yeah. And that's the other thing for me. When I first joined the group, there are young ladies in their early 20s, all the way up to 50s and 60s. And so at first when I joined, I was like, oh man, this is a bunch of like 20-year-olds. They have no idea, what I'm dealing with. And it's amazing how we all have something that
Yeah.
connects. And, as a 50 something year old, you think, "Ah, those young 20s don't have anything to teach me." Oh, let me tell you, y'all do. Um, I I learned so much. I can't even, we'd need hours to go over everything, but I feel such a mental freedom that I want everybody to feel. And we kind of touched on it earlier. They may, well, are you even healthy? Are you're still overweight or whatever? My mental health is 100% after this program.
Mm.
My physical health is, I don't know a percentage, but it's way improved.
Mm.
And it's continuing to improve because exercise is fun again. Eating a salad is not punishment because I gained 2 pounds from a cheeseburger. It's because, guess what? I like salads. I like to eat a salad.
Love a good salad.
Love a good salad. But I did this clean food eating where you had to eat a spinach salad like at certain times of the day. And it just, for a while, I'm like, I can't even eat a salad. But I love a good salad. So
I always think of Elaine in that episode of Seinfeld.
Oh,
I'm
with
just
the
like,
big
I just have
salad.
a big salad.
I just ate a big salad. Yeah.
I would actually love a big salad every
I love
day.
a big salad. Love it because all the stuff in there. Yeah. But it's worth it. It's worth the time to invest in yourself. And for those of you that have kids, spouses, whatever, my husband had to actually tell me how my negative self-talk and how I felt negatively about my body was affecting, like, he didn't want to hear me insulting myself because he loved me. And I was like, ooh, okay.
Yeah.
I never thought about that before. And so that put on a whole nother level.
Yeah.
My emotions come out in watery eyeballs here.
It's okay.
Um, but yeah, it's worth it to heal yourself for yourself alone. And then also for whatever family you have, relationships you have.
Yeah.
It's so valuable.
Yeah. And I
So
think
valuable.
you're speaking to a really important thing there, which is like how your relationship with yourself. I think we think it's just with ourselves and that
Yeah.
it only affects ourselves, but it does affect the people close to you as well. Your marriage, your kids, your
Yeah.
nieces, like whoever is
Yeah.
around you
Yeah.
picks up on that. And I think you bring up a really beautiful perspective of like how sad it makes that person who loves you to see you not loving yourself because they love you and they
Yeah.
want the best for you. And yeah, it's what a sweet guy though.
I
I
was
mean,
glad he said that to me because I had never thought of that. And he said, I
mm,
can't listen to you beat yourself up about that anymore. And I
yeah,
was like, whoa, that was okay. I
yeah,
had never thought about the way I talk to myself affecting him in any way.
mm,
And it did.
that's
Yeah.
powerful. How does he feel with you, Charlotte?
He was very supportive through the whole process and still is. And, just like everything, you know, everybody's health, wellness is individual, right? Yours is different, mine's different, his is different. But he has commented that, I don't bash myself anymore. I mean, you still have days where you look in the mirror and go, this doesn't look so good.
Sure,
But
of course.
now I don't blame it on, well, you're too fat, you ate too much, you did. No, it's like, this top doesn't really fit me right. Okay,
Mm,
find another one.
mm-hmm.
So he has commented on how nice it is that I don't do that anymore because
Yeah,
I was really hard on myself.
yeah, that's
So
good.
that's another thing. Give yourself grace.
So much grace. That's like literally if there's one thing that I consistently say to every single person throughout their journey, it's always that because
Yes, you have to.
everybody's so hard on themselves. And I get it because like
Yes.
I am the same way. I not so much in that department anymore, but I still can be that way about other things. And then I just like see it in other women. I'm like, you gotta give yourself some grace.
Oh.
I have a favorite quote from you, one of my favorite quotes from you, which is
Oh.
something that you wrote in a review, which thank you for doing that.
Oh. Okay.
And it says, a friend asked me recently if I felt like I would go back to my old ways or if this program has changed me forever, nourished and free. I feel like I'm forever changed. That's some powerful stuff. Can you speak to that a little bit?
I do. Well, an example of coming around, we just had January 1st, which is normally the time of year where I would be like, okay, let's set some fitness goals. I'm going to lose 20 pounds by this date, and I'm going to exercise this many times a week and do all that. I wasn't even tempted in the slightest.
Mm-hmm.
In the slightest. Now, I do have some goals about just being more active in different ways. So my husband and I, we do a lot of walking. We walk our dogs. We do just a lot of walking in general. We have a nice lake in our neighborhood. But I want to build back some of the muscle strength so I'm like, oh, I have some goals. I want to, lift some weights. But
Mm-hmm.
it's not tied to any kind of, I have to do this to get there. I have to be this weight to be happy or to, no, it's all gone. And I honestly don't see myself. We even said it in this, podcast. Well, maybe down the road you might go back and do X. No, I'm not counting a calorie. I'm not weighing anything except when I bake. I will weigh my ingredients because that's what you have to do
It's
in
fair.
baking. Yeah.
Fair.
But I'm not, measuring out you can only have a quarter cup of a carb.
Yeah.
No, I just, even if I'll put this, even if this is the size and the weight I am forever, I have no desire to go back to that place ever. So that 4 months of being in your group program forever changed. Forever. Yeah.
It's so good.
Oh, I know one thing you said. Because that is a thing, like, I think that gets lost when people talk about intuitive eating or just in that kind of vein of social media now, is people take that as just eat whatever you want all the time, you know, which is not really what it means, but it is being in tune with your body. What does your body need and all that? But I think one of the things you said, because I have lived in such a headspace of restriction, right? Any diet you're on, you're restricting, whether it's carbs or fat or, whatever it is, it's restrictive. But it's eat what you want, but then add what your body needs. So, so that's one thing I've tried to do is add more, whatever it is for you. I'm not going to tell people what it is. For me, it was vegetables. I don't in general eat enough vegetables. I didn't grow up eating a lot of vegetables, so there's only a handful that I like. So for me, I'm like, okay, I want a cheeseburger or I want, whatever it is, but I also know my body needs more veggies. Yeah. So instead of you can't have whatever this is, I'm going to add in what my body needs. Yes. So that was really something that stuck with me as well. Yeah. Like, don't just think of it as take away. I can't have. You can, but maybe your body also needs some of this.
Yeah. And yes, the podcast episode that is releasing tomorrow, but by the time this airs, will have already been released. Right before yours is talking similarly about like the difference between not dieting and intuitive eating, and where like the people just kind of forget that there's a framework at all when it comes to intuitive eating, and they see it as like an opportunity to just like go crazy and that there's no way you're taking care of your health. And to be fair, I think there are a lot of people on social media, and I mean, I don't know what kind of conversations they're having with their actual clients, right? But from what they post and like the top of the, horizon, what we're seeing is that it seems like there's no conversation about things that your body might need as well, and so that can be very off-putting for the whole system. And
I think that's one thing that is also helpful with Nourished and Free is I was coming from that kind of space of confusion at the time of like, okay, intuitive eating. So what do I eat? And, this thing, what do I eat there? So I appreciated the structure of Nourished and Free, because when you're a long-term dieter, you kind of thrive in that structure. So when you don't have any structure, like, oh, I'm just going to do intuitive eating, and there's not a definitive, like, what exactly are we eating with intuitive eating? So I appreciated having kind of a framework in going through Nourished and Free and learning in that way. So there is still some structure to it. You're not just like eat whatever and do whatever. I mean, there is a little bit of that in that, we're given freedom of choices, but there is the nutrition component. There is the joyful movement component, but doing it in a structure was helpful instead of just trying to figure out on my own what am I supposed to be doing.
Because that is so overwhelming. We just had a client that I think it was like a couple of weeks ago. She was talking about that in particular, about how at first when she joined, which I think this is how a lot of people feel when they first join, because they are coming from doing diets, is they're like, okay, what are you going to tell
what do
me?
I eat?
Yeah, what do I
Yeah.
eat? Like, give me my meal plan. And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
do that. And they're like, what? I'm gonna make you think for yourself. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
But I do, at the same time, I do know that just like not giving you any structure or framework at all is probably the worst thing I could do for you. And
Yeah.
so I like to give you guys a guide and a framework. And she was somebody who, like, yeah, previously really wanted me to just like spoon feed her. And then a couple of weeks ago was like, I just had such a breakthrough because I have my guide. Like, I have a meal planning guide that I give you guys that
Right. Yeah.
helps you with that piece.
Yeah.
And she's like, I have my guide, but it's just a guide. Like, I still have freedom to choose what I want and to like make it fit into my life. And she's like, this is so much better than just like the other opposite ends of the spectrum
Yeah.
that we often feel like we have to be on, where it's all or nothing. And she's like,
Yes.
this is a framework and it's helping me choose, but it's not restricting me or making me feel like I'm in a prison. And it's also not overwhelming.
And I think that's one thing that's helpful too, is because, I mean, somebody might be able to afford to have you on retainer at all times, but we have to go in through the program. We have to learn how to navigate all that ourselves.
Yeah.
Because, when your time ends, then you're like, oh, wait, I don't have anybody to, bounce this off of anymore. Or so
Yeah.
when you've learned those skills during your program, you're able to, move forward and continue to be successful, hopefully.
Well, that's my goal with you guys. It's a terrible business model because then I don't have recurring business, but it works out great for you guys, which I don't want you to rely on me for the rest of your life. You should be learning how to do things on your own and how to coach yourself through things. And
Yeah.
so that's why I love like touching base after the fact, because I get to see like how that's going and everything. So
yeah. And you have to have some courage to dive into this program as well, because it's not a diet program. Yeah. I'm so thankful that, I found your program and that I do feel like it's changed my life.
Yeah.
We can check in again, 6 months, a year.
I would love to.
I'll let you know if it's still a forever thing.
I would love
but
that.
but so far, I think so.
Yeah.
And awesome. I hope many, many, many other women who've struggled find your program. I mean, that's I've talked about it to people I know, but it does take that. You kind of have to put aside that obsessive need to lose weight.
Yeah.
To heal your relationship with food and your body.
Yeah. Which not everybody's ready for. You think you kind of have to get to a bit of a rock bottom, which is a bummer, but that's just kind of how it works.
It is. But like I said, I was in just a confused state. Like, I don't even know what to eat anymore. I don't even know what to do anymore with this. I'm out of ideas. And then your little face came along on Instagram and I went, what is this? This is new. Yeah. Let me check this out. But I'm so glad because it worked for me.
Yeah. I'm so glad you joined. Thank you for taking the time to talk about your experience. And seriously, it means the world that you've taken this time out of your day to share. And you were and still are such an amazing like client, and it's such a joy to see you go from feeling so confused and kind of at your rock bottom and bashing yourself to now feeling like I don't even need to weigh myself.
I feel amazing. I mean, not every day. Nobody feels I don't know. There might be some people feel amazing every day, but in general, I feel amazing to have that weight. It is a weight that is lifted from my shoulders now.
Yeah.
So I so appreciate it. Appreciate you and your program.
Yes. Please keep in touch. Don't ever be a stranger.
Will do.
Well, if you want to learn more about Nourished and Free and see if it's the right fit for you, feel free to head to the show notes and I'll have a link to apply, and we'll have a no pressure chat, see if this is the right fit for you, and hopefully have you be the next success story. Thanks, Sharlette.
You're welcome. Thanks, Michelle.